want to pick up a conversation. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat too, because sometimes it gets a little tricky, so just let me know. Just type in there, hey, I can hear you. Because the internet's really good here in South Africa. And shout out to my folks with the real South Africa for taking care of a brother. And so we're, second go around with Real South Africa, done a great job. And Mark, Natasha, and Latin. So shout out to them. So listen, every time I come to South Africa, I get inspired because there's something I see in South Africa that just resonates with much of what I've seen in America. And every time I learn something new, like Durban is a very special place. It really is. It has a unique ethnic mix with Indian, with obviously European, and then of course African, Zulu. Then you have the British and the Dutch. You have the Afrikaans. Just a really interesting story here. But I'm always inspired when I come to South Africa because I see people who fought back. And it just see, these are stories they don't tell us in America. They don't tell us this stuff. They keep it away because if you find out that people are whipping somebody's tail somewhere else, like, man, it gives you inspiration. So it's like, let's keep them separated. Let's not let them know that, people are, fighting and resisting. They did it in Haiti, South Africa, they did it all throughout Africa, different parts. But it's hard to come up against a gun and a bomb, and then your own people, coming in and military coups and stuff like that. So it's hard to combat that. But nevertheless, I went to learn about the story in Durban today, and I'm going to share the video at another point in time. But it prompted me to start thinking about this question. And I talked about it the other day. I talked about how, white supremacy is not going anywhere until brown, black, African, whatever you want to call it, Latino, until all these people stop being white supremacists, until we stop putting European standards as premier. And I hear so many daggone excuses, especially for whatever reason, not so much in South Africa, but other parts of Africa. I hear some excuses to just say, wow, so like, where's your fight? Where is your fight? Have you just thrown up the flag and just thrown in the towel or whatever? And by me going through that museum today in Durban, and I saw the fight that the people put up, I said, there's no way. If people know that there were people who were sitting naked to get a permit for them to be able to be in the city after certain hours, had to sit naked and do this. And just demeaned on so many different levels. Like I said, I'm not gonna go through that part right now, but what it prompted me to think is that why do we find ourselves altering ourselves in 2022? I'm not talking about 1922, I'm talking about 2022, still finding ourselves, altering ourselves to fit in to the white supremacy system. I'm reminded, and in particular, there's a few things. I got some emails that came in because some folks, really resonated with them when I talked about the whole, black people being white supremacists and not black people being racist. Well, you do have that towards each other with the colorism, but in particular, when black people put European stuff as supreme and put their own stuff down, then it'll always be a disadvantage and a loss. But I thought about this because everybody didn't operate like this. There were people who fought back. Hey, what's going on, Owen? I'm live. Yeah, I'm live. So I looked at this And I just wanted to, when I think about exploitations, and I'm often reflecting on how exploitations happen in America because that's the culture and that's what I'm most familiar with. I'm learning the different cultures, the many cultures that are on the continent of Africa and the Caribbean and South America and places like that. But there's a recurring theme that I keep seeing over and over and over when I go to different places. It's just a recurring theme. And I recognize that I wouldn't know this recurring theme if had I just stayed in the DC area, DMV, or if I just stayed in America. I wouldn't know that the recurring theme was happening in Kenya, or the recurring theme was happening in Ghana, or the recurring theme was happening in Egypt, or the recurring theme is happening in different parts of in Ethiopia, or recurring theme. I wouldn't know it had I not been to these places and heard different things and seen different things. So what I want to just touch on here is this whole thing where we as African people, whether you're whatever percent, are in a world that tells us that we need to change who we are as African people in order to be accepted. And I remember having a conversation with Tim Swain a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the white judges' wigs, even the white judges in England don't wear the wigs anymore. But it's still somehow a part of the uniform in some of these Anglophone judicial systems. And we were talking about if somebody's in a position where they have to feed their family, what you're gonna do. You're gonna put on a white wig and you're gonna do what you need to do and sit there and sing little anthems and do what you have to do if you have to feed your family. And so I was like, wow. I said, they have it, the systems in such a way that and I think people are breaking out of this, but where we are not vocal about it and we've kind of accepted it as this is how it is, and don't rock the boat, don't work the middle, and don't change positions. Some of y'all got to go back on that one. Some of y'all got to figure that one out. But for real, when I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I'm gonna just take it from America, and then those in America this will resonate with. But as a culture, because I know, and I said this earlier on another talk, there are outliers and an outlier is a very unique situation where someone you'll get a Rachel Dolezal who will try to say, okay, I'm trying to change, I'm white, but I'm trying to say I'm black, and whatever the case may be. As a culture, you do not see Europeans taking African features and wearing them as a culture. I'm not talking about clothes, I'm not talking about loving black culture and hip hop and all of that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about as far as how they wake up in the morning and when they look at their hair, you don't see them locking their hair as a culture. You don't see them as a culture now putting on darker skin complexion. Now, of course, you have some who will go and get in the tanning bed and all of that. I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about as a broad culture, because when you look at people who are of African descent in our culture, what is broad and what is marketed to us are European features, whether it's a European wig, whether it's a European relaxer, whether it's a European skin bleaching, whether it's a European whatever it is, to alter our God-given natural who we are. But yet, many of us are claiming to be very spiritual, very religious, all of these things, God, God, God. But then for many of us, we insult the very creation when we say that the creation that God made is not good. And so we now want to go be something else other than who we were created to be. And so this is just something, just an observation. And I'm not telling people how to wear their hair. I'm just saying these are observations of just being on this earth as long as I've been on this earth. Beauty supply stores in America, if you look at how they're targeted to largely black communities, and if you look at who owns those beauty supply stores, largely not owned by African American or black people, normally someone Korean or Asian or something like that is going to own that beauty supply store, and they have them in abundance in certain zip codes. And so they put these stores, in many ways, what they're doing is exploiting the traumas of many people who've been told that their God-given features are not good, and they believe it. And so because of that, they said, oh, here's another opportunity to exploit these people. Just like we can exploit Africa, we can exploit people of African descent, because we have now conditioned them on many levels to dislike or put them in a position or a culture that frowns upon their natural features. I'll never forget the story of a lady, I'm not gonna say her name, but she's a newscaster in the Washington, D.C. area. She's African, gorgeous woman. African, she keeps her African name, all that. But you could tell she was going through this, the culture thing with being on air and what she should do with her hair. And she shared the story later, so this is not something speculating on, but it was very obvious. And a lot of sisters, African Americans, Africans will go through this in that particular culture, because these news media outlets are owned primarily by old white men. And so when people are trying to climb the ladder, it's kind of like putting on that judicial wig, the white judicial blonde wig. Might not want to do it, but they love their careers and they're trying to figure out how to navigate it. And so in her case, you could just tell that she was going through this crisis, because the wigs just weren't matching who she was. I'm talking about, this is a beautiful chocolate African sister, and the wigs that she was putting on just were not working. And you could just, you could feel it, when of course she has to be professional with it. So eventually she got tired of it. And she said, look, I am African, and this is how I look. I'm not European. I mean, she's probably like no European at all. And she's like, and so she finally just started wearing her hair in more hairstyles that were conducive to what's growing out of her scalp. And what that did, though, is it prompted a conversation with many of the other women of African descent, and they talked about how they have to deal with that pressure in a white world. Even when you see black faces on these TV screens, best believe when you go and you sit down, and you sit down and you go to those boardrooms and everything, I'm trying to tell you, it's them good old boys that are sitting up there in the boardrooms saying, hey, look, y'all niggas better get everything worked out the way we want it, or we're gonna snatch you off the air. That's the mentality of corporate news media around the world. And so, and of course we wanna have representation in these places, but at the same time, people are sitting there saying, like, look, this is what, what's growing out of my hair. Someone mentioned the itching and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these challenges. And so I'm very sensitive to this, because I understand that people are dealing with these dynamics on a day-to-day basis. And they, they're dealing with these particular pressures. But eventually she got away from it. I mean, because these were bad wigs and weaves. I don't know if y'all ever seen it before, where it's like, it was really, really bad. But what it did was it sparked something with the other broadcasters in the DC area. And so now they did a report on it. It was really cool to be able to have that conversation. But I thought about it. I thought about the white ladies that got on the news. They didn't do anything. They get on there and they just run up on the air. And that's it. So that's a part of some of the things that we deal with. But I think what the benefit of this is having a conversation and exposing not what our brothers and sisters are having to deal with, it's meaning from them, but really calling out these European white supremacist news organizations and saying, hey, now what's going on? But enough of us have to be willing to recognize the problem and say something about it in order for it to change. Because if we don't, what ends up happening is like I said in another talk, we become co-conspirators in our own demise. And so we're talking about we want equal this and we want to be represented, but yet we're still willing to comply. We're still willing to not say anything. I remember the story of this Christian school in Prince George's County, and they had this whole thing about you couldn't wear locks. Now this school has majority brown children, African American children, but telling them that they couldn't wear, now if that's how it grows out of their head, but they were basically saying that they needed to wear their hairstyle like this and basically wear the white boy hairstyle or whatever, or however they want to do it. And so there was this chaplain, I think it was a chaplain, and he wore locks, and he said, look, if you want me to be your chaplain, this is how it grows out of my hair, and this is how I choose to wear it. But for many people, because our minds are white supremacy minds, we're like, well, no, that doesn't really look professional, and you need to go and cut it and make it look professional. And who said what hairstyle is professional? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be someone who has a white person with a white supremacy mindset, or a brown person who has been indoctrinated with a white supremacy mindset to say this is what professional should look like. Now, he broke the mold. They needed him, and so he kept his locks, and he still collected his check, and he did what he needed to do, and that changed a part of that system. Same school, not too long ago, well, you can't wear your hair longer than this, and you can't wear your hair longer than that, and this is how we're doing this. And then, what a lot of Negroes do is they say, well, those are the people's rules and everything. And then what I had to say is, well, you want my money, right? If you want my money, then these rules need to modify according to my money. See, a lot of times what happens is we allow people to bully us with our money. Instead of saying, well, no, I'll just take my money somewhere else. I'm not that person to come to your school. And I guarantee you, when you start doing enough people start standing up like that, all them rules will change overnight. They start hitting that bottom line, they gotta start laying people off, and they start going through that whole thing, man. Jokers will start fleeing. That's change the rules overnight. That's how I got them to change their mascot name from Crusaders. Because I was like, look, we're not gonna play this game. They're talking about, well, we think we're gonna go and we're gonna have a conversation. I was like, nah, Jack, no. You want the money, right? This is how the conversation is gonna go down. And see, too many of us are afraid to say, nah, Jack. Nah, Jack. As a matter of fact, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start educating people, and we're gonna put this on blast. And I said, I'm gonna tell your whole school population, all your black teachers, all your black students, all your black parents in the middle of black PG County. And so there's no reason why you should still be having Crusaders in 2022 as a mascot, understanding that the Crusaders were a murderous terrorist organization. There's no way you can justify that. And the European the leader of the school or whatever, he came to his senses because he understood, because we talk money. It's like, you don't want this on you. This is an opportunity for you to be able to change and recruit, because COVID about to shut y'all down anyway. So you can, how we want to ride this. Too many of us are too passive. Too many of us sit back and, well, I don't want to say anything, when they will come bulldoze your house down. They will come bomb your house. They'll come tear down your business. They'll come do whatever they want to do. But we're going to sit there. Oh, well, we got to learn how to get along now. We got to, we got to do like Rodney told us to do it now. We can get along. We just need to make some modifications. And so the more people stand up and speak and say, that's when we begin to see a lot of these things change. And I had to realize, for me, I thought, like my name is about the most European name that you're going to get. J is about as British as going to get. It's like, that's what my mother named me. It is what it is. I mean, now, I got my Kojo Tun, whatever, I got my Ghanaian and my Timone Pa Sorte Canoe. I got that. All that's good. I'm cool with all that. But understanding that when I came into this world, when I look at my passport, when I see all of that going on, I recognize from birth, this is how I was groomed. I was groomed to have a European mindset. I was groomed. I speak English. One of the reasons why America doesn't encourage allow us to speak like multiple languages, like from the giddy up, is because of language confusion. If you know how to talk, if you know how to talk Spanish, French, Portuguese, German, I'm just throwing these out here. Tree, Swahili. If you know how to speak all those different languages, that gives you power. So when you're in America and they don't want you to leave and they want you to be handicapped, they might give you a little sprinkle of Spanish, a little something just to kind of put it in there like that. But as far as like everyday culture and conversation, nah, just speak English. So then you don't even want to really go to a francophone country so much because you got a language barrier. I'm going to get into deep with it. I'm going to get too deep. But and not that we really want to be picking up a whole lot of colonizing languages, but from standpoint of business, I'm just saying, from business. Then we have this other thing with us, like I see this more so happening in Africa than I do in America, as far as the skin bleaching, even though you do have the skin bleaching in America, but you really see it heavily on the continent, where that's like, I went into some store and I was looking at some cream and I was like, oh, that looks like an interesting cream. And the people would say, now that's skin bleaching cream. We know you're not into that. I was like, oh, I said, that's what that is. I think I had like carrot something in it or another. It's amazing how they can get certain things into certain places, like some of the most remote places. It's amazing how you can find like their hair there, and you can find their skin bleaching creams and all of that. You can find it there. So, let's see what else. But this is the thing I realized, that no other culture, no other ethnic group, meaning whether it be, no one else alters themselves the way we do, as a broad cultural, and it's accepted. And that's what I'm saying. We accept it. We say it's normal. We say it's abnormal for us to be normal. We say it's unnatural for us to be natural. We say it's, you see what I'm saying? It's like it's all these different things, and nobody's going to take anybody seriously. That's why when people come in and they laugh, they dare not say it. These people are crafty. They dare not laugh in your face and mock you. They dare not do that, because then you're like, well, hold on, man, you playing me? What's going on? You playing games with me? No, they'll just look at you and just make sure you show in here and you look professional the way that we say, and they use words like, this is our uniform, these are our expectations, this is our system, and this is how it is. But each system has evolved and has matured by way of some form of protest. And so when people, again, we have been trained not to speak up, because we have been trained to fear the repercussions that might come as a result. So what that does is that nullifies our power. It just cuts us off when we can take our money and go somewhere else. And guess what? At the end of the day, what I've discovered in my travels, that everything goes back to the money. Everything. I know people think it goes to other stuff. In my travels, everything at the core of everything, it goes back to the power, control over the resources, and that's a form of money. I mean, it might not be cash money, but it may be control of resources or land or mindsets or whatever. So when I come, every time I come to South Africa, I just get like emboldened, because I see what people went through. I can't wait to share the video from what I took today. And I see what the people went through, and I have such respect. I have such respect for the people who fought in South Africa, in Joburg, in Durban, in Cape Town, and who are still fighting to this day, representing the causes, representing the ancestors who fought and paved the way before. It is something special in South Africa when it comes to that particular. There's something special about the people. I'm trying to tell you, when it's like you kind of feel, you feel they got a little edge to it, especially those who were around during apartheid and during that time. So for us, for those of us who are of African descent, and for those who care, that's the other part, for those who care, because a lot of people of African descent don't care. I hear some stuff on this continent, y'all, that y'all wouldn't even believe. I've had some conversations on YouTube and on social media. Y'all wouldn't even believe the stuff that's coming out of people's mouths. Even in America, it's almost like, now, I feel as where I'm about, I just felt the thing kick in. I just felt, where I'm about to go deep. What I discovered, and this is what I see, this is just in my observation, y'all. This is my observation, just in my observation. The more religious, the more accepting of abuse. This is in my observation from America to, not everywhere in Africa, but many parts of Africa, from the east to the west. I see where people are like, hey, let bygones be bygones. And I say, ain't nothing bygone. Ain't nothing bygone. Bygone ain't gone nowhere. Everything is still right here. You can't tell you get screwed right now. They have made it to where you can't even feel it anymore. And so I'm like, yo, part of me definitely understands it, because I know the mindset shift that is constantly happening every day. But at the same time, what's going on that we don't, it's like we're just okay. It's like we don't want to dig deeper. So many of us don't want to dig deeper. And some of the stuff, you don't have to really go that deep. You can just look and say, well, why are y'all dropping liquor stores on every corner? And then you got a church on every corner. And I'm talking about America. We can maybe say every village. Maybe we could do, I don't know. Why is it that we have a liquor store, a church, a carryout, and a beauty supply store in all these black neighborhoods in America? What drugs are being sold out of those institutions, or religion, whatever religion it could be. It could be any religion. So I don't want to just say church, it could be any religion. What is that we have so many of those, but yet the progress in those particular areas is stunted. Stunted. So you see the same pattern over and over and over. And then when you say something about it, nobody has like a common sense answer. And then they try to get all spiritual and everything. I'm like, what you talking about don't even make sense. I said, we got to stop for a second and see what's happening. Why is it, or how is it that we're so easily accepting of the abuse? And really on many levels, it's because trauma has been, the mentality of trauma has been passed down through generations in Africa and America and Brazil and the Caribbean and places where these systems have been put into place. And so as people begin to wake up to this stuff, it's like they're saying, nah, I'm not going to waste my whole life, especially now that I understand it. Maybe my immediate ancestors didn't know any better, they didn't have access to the information, but now that we have access to the information, we don't have an excuse. Now, many people just don't have an interest, but I saw somebody put in the comments, we have this thing where we're trying to be European, we're trying to fit in, we're trying to sit down and have caviar. And you have caviar, nobody's saying don't have caviar or anything like that. All I'm saying is that when you lose yourself in that process, and you now take on someone else's brand and you forget your brand. I was talking about, and gentlemen thought that I was talking about an African preacher. I was actually talking about an African-American preacher who was telling the people about 20 years ago that he was waiting for a white man to come basically rescue him, to give him money. I'm praying for the white man to bring me money. I'm praying for the white man. And the church, the people, hallelujah, hallelujah. The white man's gonna come and give him money. He even put up a video one Sunday, and this is when he put it on God. He even gave it to God. He put it on God. God sent me a white man. Little white man in the background. Hey, in the background. And the people, hallelujah, hallelujah. Now, this is how crazy this is, y'all. The preacher was bringing in, at the height of his career, between $85,000 and $100,000 a week, every Sunday, on Sundays. You do that over the course of a year, you're bringing in $5.2 million a year, easy. So I'm saying to myself, okay. So he's bringing in $5.2 million a year. What does he want this white man to do at this point? To give him another $5.2 million a year? I'm saying, if this brother, and I'm just speaking business, if this brother really refined his craft or whatever, he could have taken that $5.2 million a year, parlayed that into get himself a building or whatever, with no loans and whatever else, started opening restaurants and dry cleaners, and he could have now taken that money and created an economic hub right within his own church. But because his mindset was white supremacy, he was still riding around. He trying to buy the little, I'm not gonna say car, but buying these little cars and stuff and trying to walk around and flaunt and all of this in front of other Negroes. So they look at him, yeah, we want to be like you, Pastor. We want to be like you. We want to take a picture in front of your car, Pastor. We gonna take a picture in front of your car, Pastor, because we don't believe we can get it. So we gonna get some of the oil dripping off your bed, Pastor, and we gonna get some. And so that's basically what was going on. But he already had the capacity. He didn't need the white man. He just needed the discipline and the wisdom to be able to be a good financial manager where he could truly empower the people within his community that he was leading. But because his mind was caught up in, I need a white man to come save and rescue me. I need a white man to come in here and give me the stuff I need to have. And if I get the white man to do it, then I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be approved. I'm gonna be validated. And God gonna do, and so that's what I'm saying. And the deal is, he had a window of opportunity to take off and do it. And really, even the last time I talked to him, he was still chasing a white man. Still chasing a white man. Still waiting for a white man to give him some money. And so I said, as long as he's thinking like that, he'll always be, for the rest of his life, he'll be chasing a white man to give him some money. Many of us, I'm trying to tell you, I could tell y'all some stories. That's why when people try to come for me with stuff, I'm saying, you don't understand. I got 30 years of a whole bunch of games. I've been in the club game. I've been in the church game. I could put y'all on some game. I'm trying to tell you. And so, at the right time, I will. But I'm just telling you, I'm just breaking that down to you so you understand how deep I saw what was going on with this man. And he was leading thousands of people. Thousands of people followed him. Thousands of people were listening and saying, yes, we want to follow what he says. And I was like, wow. And so now, he's a remnant of what he used to be in the past. But this mentality is what I'm saying is going around. And it's something that until we rid ourselves of it, then we will never reach our full potential. Until we can look in the mirror and be happy with how we've been created, then someone else can always come along and manipulate us. And this has nothing to do with someone's personal preference. If you want to wear what you want to wear, how you want to do it, that's your business. What I'm saying is just understanding the root of what's inspiring it, what's motivating it. And then the person that you become, once you understand who you are, now you walk with a different level of power than you walk around waiting for the white man to come rescue you. And this is from someone in America. America. So this is not an African thing, because somebody's like, oh, you talking about us over here? I'm telling you somebody. Why don't y'all talk about them African American churches? I'm telling you about them right now. So I just hope for the next generation that our children will see people who are not weak mentally and who are willing to say, look, be proud of how you've been created. If you want to do something different, what your style is, that's your style, that's your business. But be proud of how you've been created. Because if you're not proud of yourself, no one else is going to be proud of you. No one else is going to respect you until you respect yourself. Someone else is going to come in and see that and be able to take advantage of it. It's so easy to do. You can just look at someone and say, oh, okay, you have some deficiency issues. You have some insecurity issues. All right. So your pain point is this. Let's speak to your pain point. You need validation. You need this. You need this. You need this. As a matter of fact, we don't even have to pay you because your compensation will be in your pain point. Your compensation will be exactly that. What you need is emotional. So, and that's what I'm saying. That's why we have to be confident, because if we don't, somebody can recognize that I've been through it. I know it. When I was in my early 20s, and people could see that I had father issues, and I was a young father, I needed direction. Well, they could come in and say, you know what? This young brother right here, he needs some spiritual parenting in his life. And so let me fill that void. And that's how I was able to be exploited and manipulated, because I didn't understand what was going on, because nobody told me that's how the game was played. Now nobody can play that game with me because it's already been played. And so that's why I tell people, and what ended up having to happen is that I had to be able to I had to be able to go through the pain of the process of discovering myself, and that's painful. That's painful. And when you're thinking one way and you're having to be dealing with abandonment, and sometimes what ends up happening in life is you have to go through the very thing that you fear the most in order to get through it, and then to discover who you are. See, sometimes we are so afraid to go through the pain that when the pain comes, we run from it, when the pain is the very thing that we need to grow. And that's the thing that I've learned, and that's what gives me the confidence, because it's like, wow, at every turn, when I go back and I think, and this is outside of the white man, this is when it came to the black man, the people who, in my life, the people who tried to destroy me the most were black men, brown men, my black father, and then the black preacher, and I went through that whole process. And then at that point, I was like, well, dang, I said, I'm getting them from all sides. The white people going over here trying to do this, the black men over here trying to do this. How do you win in this situation? And what you begin to discover at that point is that it's bigger than all of them. And if we can get to that point to say, you know what, that's how it goes. It comes from those angles. So you got to deal with it. But on the flip side of it, some of the people who came and lifted me up during those weak times were black men. So it didn't indict everybody. It was just them jokers, them couple jokers. But then there were other brothers who came through and said, no, we got you, man. And at the same time, there were other ones who were like, man, we're going to try to exploit you. And so you learn how to get a tough skin. And then I had white people who came and helped me. That's what I'm saying. So it wasn't like the white people were coming and trying to destroy me. There were white people who came along and said, hey, man, I got you. Hey, what's going on, Deshaun? And so I look at it, and I take this cumulative thing, and I said, okay, these are all of my experiences, and it gives me this balance. And when I say balance, meaning just the truth. That's all. I just want the truth. I can deal with whatever, just give me the truth. If it hurts, I can deal with it. I just don't want to live in a delusion. I don't want to live, hey, what's going on, Edwin? I don't want to live in a delusion. I don't want to live in a fantasy. I don't want to live believing a lie. I just want the truth, even if the truth hurts. Even if the truth means that I have to tear down something that I thought for my entire life. I just want the truth. Because I'm telling you, there's something liberating about the truth. Because now when you walk around, you're not walking around with the blinders on. You're like, oh, okay. Now, I'm not talking about becoming skeptical and cynical of everything. But what I recognize, the media does not help at all. What I realize is that when you begin to start analyzing things through a different filter, now you sit back and you say, okay, cool. It is what it is. This is how it went down. What role did I play in this? How did I allow myself to get set up like this? And what will I not allow myself to do in the future? How will I prevent this from happening? Some things you can't prevent because some things you need to go through. But how can I avoid finding myself in this place in the future? And people will try to strong arm you. People will try to come for you. People will try to put you back in the place they think you should be. But once you've been through the pain of the thing that you fear the most, no human being can come along and do anything to you. You're like, hey, it is what it is. If this is what I have to deal with, this is what I have to deal with. And that's when your faith goes to the next level, because you're like, you flesh and blood just like me. And so It is what it is. I mean, that's the, yeah, I guess that's the saying now. It is what it is. I guess like 10 years ago, it was like at the end of the day. So I guess today it is what it is. But, you know, I tell people, I tell my sons, I say, y'all don't have to, I tell my sons and my daughter, I said, look, y'all been set up so good. You get to start a business and do whatever you want to do. I said, you have a platform to build on and go to the sky's the limit. I said, I said, everything that I had to scrape. I just spend 16, 17, 20, sometimes 28 hours working straight, sometimes 48 hours working straight to do what I do. I was telling a brother a street vendor in Ghana, and he was telling me, I told him, we were you know, you talk trash, so we were talking trash together. I said, look here, man. I said, I will out hustle you. I said, you know, I mean, brothers get to talking trash. He looked at me like, what? I said, yeah, man. I said, I've been a street vendor before. I said, as a matter of fact, Labor Day weekend, 1995, I sold 800 watermelons on the streets of Washington, D.C. So I know what it's like to be out in the heat. So we were going back and forth. So we had, you know, it was cool because he understood that I respected what he was doing. So I say that to say that when we go through our journey, sometimes we look at our journey in a negative way or whatever, and sometimes we see it, you know, we reflect on the days gone by. But when I tell my children, I said, look, I said, you think you see me traveling the world, but best believe I paid my dues. And so I'm paying my dues now at this point so other people can see through the stories and through these conversations and all that. I said, look, it's on you all to take off. Now you got to figure it out. Here's the platform. And you start to take off, you know, we got you, we're going to help you fly. But you're going to have to figure some things out on your own. So what I say to all of us watching right now, if you get to the point of embracing the truth, even when it hurts, it will take you to another level. The other thing I had to learn is that that when things disappoint you, acknowledge the disappointment, but don't let that stuff drag you down. Because some people are just carrying around disappointment everywhere they go. Here disappointment, here this disappointment, that disappointment, just carrying it all around. And so you got to learn how to acknowledge it, and then at some point you got to either manage how you're going to carry it, but you can't allow that weight to drag you down. So anyway, everybody, listen, be proud of who you have been created to be. I just hope to inspire people beyond what society says, you know, and there's no malice. People think that when you talk about this type of stuff that you have malice towards other ethnic groups. I don't have malice towards anyone. I'm just telling the truth. That's all. And that's another way we've been like dumbed down and silenced and everything, because when we start speaking about things, we're the ones who are supposed to be, let me just be quiet. Let me just be quiet. Don't say anything about it. Just don't say anything about it. And it's like, no, if we're going to be healthy, we need to talk these things through. If you don't learn how to articulate and share what you've been through, then you carry that stuff. And there's many reasons why a lot of us are dealing with health challenges, because we're carrying emotional stuff that we need to let go of. And sometimes that emotional stuff translates into physical things and all of that stuff. And so I was telling someone today, I said, hey, I don't have a particularly stressful life. Even though I have a lot going on, I don't have a particularly stressful life. There are moments of stress, but I've been there, done that. And so I said, I don't want to live that kind of lifestyle. So I'm not going to live that kind of lifestyle. But it takes something within me to say, I'm not going to live that kind of lifestyle, versus to say, you know, this is what they say, you know, you got to be stressed out all the time. No, you don't have to be stressed out all the time. There are times in your life when you are, and there are other times, you know, when you're not. So anyway, I don't want to go too long tonight. I know I went like an hour and a half the other night. This is what I need everybody to do. With this particular channel, you all hear what I'm talking about. Let people know about it, subscribe to it, because as we continue to build this, there are going to be more and more opportunities and things that I'm going to be sharing. I just released a video. Y'all want to check it out. The sister 10 years ago, she came to one of my plays. She ignored everything I said, but she came back well, it's 9 years now. And she said, yo, I should have listened, but here's what I got. And her story is so powerful. I mean, I hopped on that Zoom in Senegal and I was like, wow. And I shout out to my man Clifton, who always reminds me, he said, Jay, you just don't, I see you traveling all through Africa, but don't forget this other part of your story that so many people don't know about. And so many people don't know all these different things that you've done and the work you've done in the community in DC, over in the DC area over the past 25 years. Because I'll even get people saying, well, you need to go back to America and help solve the problems in America. And I was like, don't you understand that I've dedicated my whole life to the DMV? and has still dedicated my life to the DMV. That's why I do what I do. But now it's broadened out past the DMV. People who come on my trips coming from California, from Arizona, from Chicago, from Philly, from Houston, from Florida, from North Carolina, from all these different places. So it's, you know, it's all about bridging the gap. Again, more conversations like this is what it's gonna take. If you just tuning in, go back and watch the video from the top. Let's be proud of who we've been created. That's the deal. What's going on, Jeff? You already know what time it is. You already know. That's my man, Jeff, getting ready for Tanzania. Oh, man. But that's the deal. That's how we're going to do that. Akron, Ohio. But this is what it's all about, y'all. And I'm trying to tell you that if you embrace what's in you, you become a different person, and do not let anybody dim your light just because they want their light to be dimmed. I think so. I'm gonna check the itinerary and I'll see. I plan on doing a lot while I'm here in South Africa. I'm going to 3 cities. I'm here in Durban. Supposed to do something in Lesotho, I believe, tomorrow. I think that's what I saw on the itinerary. And then I'm gonna hop over to Cape Town. Then I'll be in Joburg. So if anybody's in those areas, I'd love to meet you. I know I got some folks I'm going to be connecting with in Joburg. So if you're in Durban, hey, hit me up. If you're in Cape Town, hit me up. If you're again in Joburg, hit me up. And then when I get back to the States, I'll be back in the States. I'll be in Atlanta twice in June. I'm going to be speaking at the Black Travel Expo on June the 3rd. And then I will be hanging out with my man Lamar, Tyler and his wife Ronnie. So I'll be down in Atlanta. And I heard a rumor that Magic Johnson's gonna be down that way. So I'll be in Atlanta. Then I'll be back in Ghana. Then I'll be in Ghana in between there. And then I'll be back in Ghana beginning of July. Then I'll be in Tanzania. We got a big thing coming up in Tanzania with the safari and everything. And then I'll be back in Ghana. And then we're looking at South Africa. So we got a lot going on. And then I'm trying to hit Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire. And there are 3 other countries I want to hit before the end of the year, which would be Cameroon, Gabon, and Angola. So those are the 3. Now I see Uganda out there. Uganda, I got to come to you. I definitely got to get to Uganda, Rwanda. So I see, and of course to wrap up the West, I got to get to Mali and Burkina and Guinea-Bissau and Liberia. So I do have to wrap that up as far as the West is concerned. So I got my countries down, and I love every place I've been. I got to get back to the Gambia. I got to go hook up with my folks, the Acres in Gambia. It's a lot of folks in Gambia I did not get a chance to get to. So I got to get back to the Gambia. So no, that's coming back around. So that's the deal. Yeah, well, it's a window. It's a window, Owen. This is a window where I realized that you do things in windows, and then you let everything kind of fall into place. I mean, I got these children's books that I want to make sure that we deposit into the minds of the children, and I have to go get the content. And for them to be able to have it, I'm working on the South Africa book for the children. We have the Kilimanjaro book coming out. We have Salvador, Brazil coming out. I want to go to Colombia and South America. So it's a lot that I want to do, but the reason why I'm doing it is to be able to bridge these gaps and to educate and get people to see that there's nothing to fear, nothing more. I mean, look at what's going on in America. Look at what's happened in Buffalo, but that happened in Charleston. It happened in Vegas. It happened in Newtown. It happens every day. South side of Chicago. It's happening in D.C. So we gotta make the most of the time that we have because we just don't know. We just don't know, and I don't want to look up and be like, man, I could have done this and I didn't do that, and that's the deal. Oh, okay. 83% Cameroon, Congo, Senegal. Yeah. Man, I'm sorry, Mauritania. I got to come to Mauritania. Somebody hit me up from Mauritania, so I'm coming to Mauritania. All right? So when I flew over Mauritania from Morocco, so I'm coming to Mauritania. I got to come to Mauritania. And that will officially be the West. That'll officially, because it's right there with Senegal. And I can't wait for people to go to see these places. And hopefully, with Mine, we were chatting the other day. So just know we're working, all right? We're trying to connect this thing. He was in. This is how we crisscross each other. Mine was in Durban, and I was in Joburg. So here we are. We're like, all right, how are we gonna do this? We're flying. We crisscross each other. He ended up in Joburg, and I ended up in Durban. And so we're gonna make that happen. I know when that does happen. We did an interview before, but our names keep popping up in the same feed. So we're definitely working on having that connection. It'll happen at the right time, and we'll have a great conversation, and we will cut up and give everybody what they're looking for as far as that discussion. I admire what the young brother's doing. And I admire how he's inspiring older generations, people older than I am, and so that's his lane, that's what he's doing, that's his gift, and I appreciate being able to watch that whole process, that whole ascension, and the timing is just right for what he's doing, and that's how it is. So you find what it is that you do, you find the timing for what it is. He just took a chance and ran with it, and that's what I see other people doing. Tayo, Anno, and expat like Ghana, and when we sit down hanging out with my man Mark Black from real South Africa, like I said, the Acres in Gambia, we're going to make that connection happen. And all of the people that I have a chance to interview and talk to, it's just like at every turn I'm inspired because of it. People that I meet on the street in Ghana, people that I meet, I'm in the airport in Kenya, brother walks up to me, hey man, I've watched your channel. I said, wow. I said, wow, this is deep. This wasn't a part of my plan 2-3 years ago. So, you just go with the flow. And that's what I hope everybody does. You go with the flow for your life and watch how it all brings together. Let's see, Bridging the Gaps, New Orleans, Cultural City. Oh, yeah. That's right. New Orleans is powerful. I'm about to drop a video about Savannah. I might drop it tonight. Now I'll wait till tomorrow. About Savannah, Georgia, the Ashanti, the Adinkra symbols, the Hausa tribe, and how they left their mark in Savannah, Georgia. That video with Sister Pat, that is deep. That is deep, y'all. So when that one drops, just that's why I say go ahead and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can be up to speed. I have so many videos, I have so much content. I have stuff from Egypt, from the Nubian community. I have stuff from Nigeria I haven't shared. I have stuff from Sierra Leone I haven't shared. I have things from Ghana I haven't shared. I have things from Morocco I haven't shared. So this stuff is coming down the pipe. Tanzania, Kenya, the slum, they call it a slum. I didn't see it as a slum because I saw something completely different in Kenya. I have safari footage I haven't shared. So a lot of this stuff is on the way. I'm still gathering footage. So stuff from South Africa, from the first South Africa trip. Anyway, listen, that's the deal. I will be chiming in tomorrow. Hit the notification bell so you get alerts on all the videos we have coming up. And stay tuned for more. Subscribe, like, share, and make sure you join us. Make sure you join us on one of our maximum impact travel trips. I'm telling you, it's one of a kind. It's a one of a kind of experience. All right. So take care. Be safe. Until next time.